So a friend of mine found a couple laptops in a U-Haul parking lot dumpster, and this is one of them. It's an Acer Aspire E15 with a Nvidia GeForce 940M. At first glance it seems almost new, barely used, but after testing it out I found out why it was dumped. I tested it by doing some gaming and got the dreaded blue screen of death. I know it's not a software problem, because I had installed a fresh copy of Windows 10 Pro. By the way, this brings me to this video's sponsor, me. Purchase genuine Windows 10 Pro retail keys from my new website. Keys are instantly delivered to your email upon purchase. Link is in the description below. Since it's not a software problem, the only way to fix this is to perform surgery. Opening this laptop was easy, although it has a lot of screws to remove, a total of 20 to get off the back cover. Be careful when removing the back cover, because the speakers are found in it, and there is a connection from them to the motherboard. Now that it's open, we can go over the specs of this laptop. It has an Intel i5-6200U which turbo boosts up to 2.8 GHz, a single stick of 8GB DDR3 1600MHz RAM. Originally came with a 1TB spinning hard drive, but it looks like at some point it was changed to a 256GB PNY SATA SSD. It has dedicated graphics with a Nvidia GeForce 940M with 2GB of DDR3 VRAM. The battery is an internal 4-cell lithium ion. Acer says it should last up to 6 hours, but I think this one needs to be replaced because I'm only getting around 1 hour of normal usage. It has Bluetooth 4.0 and 802.11 AC Wi-Fi. And finally, a 15.6-inch Full HD 1080p LED backlit display. That's honestly not very bright or color accurate. For port selections on the right hand side, it has a VGA port, a HDMI port with HDCP support, a gigabit Ethernet port, 2 USB 3.0 ports, and a combined audio jack. On the front there's a SD card reader, and on the left hand side it has a power port, a blank space for an optical drive, and a USB 2.0 port. After pulling out the heatsink and the fan, I can see why it was crashing. This definitely had thermal issues, seeing that there was no air passing through this heatsink, with this layer of hair, lint and dust forming a very gross carpet. I hope you're pressing that like button right now. Consider I'm putting my health at risk showing you this stuff. Give a brother some support as I'm continuing with this disgusting teardown. After the cleanup, I'm happy to report that the blue screen of death issue is fixed. And I'm yet to see it again after hours of gameplay. Speaking of gameplay, let's get into some right now. First up, we have Witcher 3 running at 720p low. We're getting an average of 25 frames per second. Even though it was below 30 frames per second, it was still playable and it worked fine. Next up we have Dirt 4 running at 900p ultra low settings. We're getting a respectable 52 frames per second.
Keep middle over crests. 100 through dip. Keep right over crest. Keep left over crest. 100 through dip. Keep middle over crests. 80. Right 3, 80. Left 2.
Thirdly, we have GTA 5 running at 900p normal settings, and it was running fine at 30 frames per second.
Hey, we still on for that Manny Petty?
You crackhead!
Next up we have Fortnite running at 900p performance mode, medium settings, and we're getting a solid 60 frames per second. Apex Legends was running at 720p low settings, and even though the average was 34 frames per second, it was unplayable and very choppy.
Keep your eyes on the map. We're spread out a lot.
Lastly, we tried out Warzone just for the hell of it. It was running at 720p low settings, and it was getting an unplayable 16 frames per second.
Dropping into the AO.
For my final thoughts, I would consider this Acer Aspire E15 to be a steal for what my friend paid for it, which is absolutely nothing because he found it in a dumpster. I guess someone else's garbage can be your next person's treasure, especially if you have a friend like me that can bring it back to life. I think the Nvidia GeForce 940M is a bit old for AAA gaming nowadays and well past its prime. It will handle very light titles or titles that was around back in its day. And considering its age, it seems to be well built, with the hinge still being solid. The trackpad tracks well and recognizes modern gestures. Keyboard is chiclet style and I had no problems gaming with it. My biggest negative would be the screen quality, which was very washed out and almost void of color. If you're still with me up to this point, you might want to check out my last video about another budget laptop that performs great with modern games, and this one I had to actually buy with my own money. Click here to check it out.